Yes, it is Jeannie Ives. Thanks for joining me this Sunday night. I really appreciate it. Also, before I forget, I want to say thanks to Paul. He is handling the production in the other side. He's been doing a great job. Well, we're going to turn to what's happening in Springfield because we just got handed a big bad bill in Springfield. And you know what? I think it's patently illegal how they passed it. Take a listen to this. I think I played it last week, but it's worth listening to again and again and again. This is Don Harmon. He's the top Democrat in the Senate. He's the Senate president. And oh, by the way, he's got an ethics and an election problem. He may owe up to $6 million for fraudulently taking in excess payments. Yeah, he tried to cover that up too. Oh, by the way, it didn't happen, but who knows what will in the future. But take a listen to him. This is him explaining how he's passing a bill from the Senate to the House.
Earlier today, we received from the House a House bill with an appropriations title, a candidate for use in a budget for the end of the session here. We are reciprocating today by sending an appropriation title back to the House, and we'll negotiate with the House on passage of a final budget. So this is a vehicle bill. There is no content, and I'd ask members who are able to support the bill going over to the House.
I just wanted.
Okay, so you heard that part. This is a bill with no content. I'm just reading the title. Well, here to talk about that and the lawsuit that they filed, because he's a member of the Illinois Freedom Caucus, is State Representative Brad Halbrook. He represents the 107th State District, and he's been in office for about just over a decade. Brad, thanks so much for joining me on The Real Story.
Hey, you're welcome, Jeannie. It's great to be here.
So tell me about this lawsuit that you guys filed. I mean, I think that the clip I just played is evidence number one that Harmon knew damn well what he was doing, that he was, shirking the rules, and it was intentional.
Yeah. Well, first of all, our welcome to the Summer of Love again. Is this 3.0 or 4.0? I'm not sure. With all these riots that are breaking out, just another peaceful protest, I guess, is happening all across the nation. But yep. Yeah, so they're saying the quiet part out loud. I mean, we see this stuff play out. It gets worse as we get closer to May 31st, the adjournment date. Yeah, I mean, they just said it right there, and it's in full living color and stereo sound for everybody to hear that these bills have no language in them. They're going to add it at the last minute, and it's just shameful. It's just a disservice to the people of Illinois.
So I believe that Senator Chesney sort of took the lead on filing this lawsuit. All of you signed on to it. What is the status of it right now?
Right. So I think we're waiting on a hearing date. And you're right. So there's 7 members, Chesney in the Senate, and the 6 House Freedom Caucus members have all signed on as plaintiffs against the leader, Chris Welch, Speaker of the House, and Don Harmon, President of the Senate, are the defendants. And so we're just waiting out the hearing date now at this point.
And did you guys have any additional evidence other than what, I played? I mean, I think actually that is the smoking gun because, Madigan was smarter than Harmon. He would never make such a bold bravado type statement, basically bragging that, oh, yeah, we know what we're doing. We're just violating the rules. Do you have other evidence?
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything else other than what's been laid out. I assume the rest of that will come in time if there is additional evidence. But the complaint lays out a fairly strong case. Again, I'm not a legal scholar. I'm not a lawyer. I don't, that's not my area of expertise. So we'll just have to wait and see how this all plays out. I'm optimistic. I think it's overdue. This third reading rule doctrine that is being bandied about is long overdue for the Supreme Court of Illinois to review. There was a divorce case dealing with the
guns,
the gun stuff, the gun ban stuff just a couple of years ago. That was one of their points in there, one of their counts in there. So I think it's a situation that might get some traction, and it should get some traction this summer.
Yeah, I mean, House Rule 38 says the reading of bills. Every bill shall be read by title on 3 different days before passage by the House. Page 66 of Senate rules, every bill shall be read by title on 3 different days prior to the passage by the Senate. So did they really mean just read the title? Is that really what they meant? Or what does by title mean? I mean, I guess that's going to come down to sort of hinging on that. Or are you going to a constitutional rule?
Right. This is a question I get from a lot of people that have never been to Springfield or never really watched how, the proceedings. And they said, well, what are they doing? I thought they read the entire bill. Well, no, they're just reading the title. So maybe that needs to be defined a little bit more. Of course, some of these bills, Jeannie, are several hundred pages long.
Oh, yeah. Right. You can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's, we do have access to them via they're all on laptops. So we do have access to all of that as legislators and the like. You've been there, you know what it's like. Mm-hmm. And, these budget bills are 3,000-4,000 pages each. And, the budget bill, the BIMP bill, the revenue bill, these are several thousand pages. I mean, you would have to be a speed reader, and it would take days to get through these bills.
Absolutely.
That's your very best reading and comprehension skills available. And so, we get them when we have a few hours, maybe 48, maybe 50 hours, but they just constantly change on us. I mean, new amendment after new amendment late in the day.
Yeah. So, give us a little sense about the budget. They went all out. There was no even sort of maybe we'll just make it a little bit bigger than last year. No, they went all out. They had no qualms about it. Were you kind of surprised that they went all in, spending almost every penny we have coming in?
$2 billion bigger than it was last year. Mm-hmm. Under Pritzker's 6 years, it's grown nearly $17 billion, nearly 40% in 6 or 7 years. I mean, these guys show no shame. They sit there in committee and say this is a hard budgeting year. Things are very difficult. And then they spend $2 billion more. And of course, It just seems to be the run of show that there's $1 billion plus or minus tax hike attached every year. Now, this one's a little bit different because there's several hundred million that they're going to hopefully achieve in a tax amnesty program. So it's not really like it's a tax hike, but it's like, well, I just wonder how collectible some of that stuff is to begin with. This is maybe more budget gimmickry than it is reality.
Yeah. Well, okay. What other bad things happened down there?
It was really bizarre as we started into the end of, or I guess the end of session last week. It seemed almost like an eternity ago now. But, as we started into the last week, a lot of kind of slow start, this idea to suspend the rules so bills could be heard in committee. Mm-hmm. And, maybe they'd have a committee hearing in the beginning, but then they would recess at the call of the chair. And so this was what you'd get. Every day later, the more of these suspension of the posting requirements so they could get it done, get it into committee, but just really bad bill after bad bill. Everywhere you could imagine, more bad stuff up one side and down the other. Okay.
One more thing I wanted to cover with you, and that is this meta deal with Constellation Energy. I mean, it was pretty much announced just last week with not a lot of details, in my opinion. What do you know about it, and do you have any unanswered questions?
Well, I don't know a lot about it. I'm trying to sort through it because energy is a big thing right now. Yes. But I have way more unanswered questions. And Jeannie, you and I have talked a lot about this over the last, I guess we really since 2021, since before CEJA became law. We had the energy tour, myself and yourself and Dan Calkins and Chris Miller, and we toured these facilities. We toured the Clinton plant then, and that was my second tour. I've been back in there this spring again to Clinton. And so as I've learned more and more about it, the press release went out, or the media coverage on the situation with Meta and Clinton just left a lot of unanswered questions. Jeannie, you and I know that it's about these data centers, right? And their large demand on energy, anywhere from several hundred megawatts to a gigawatt or two. And it's just staggering, the consumption of power that these facilities use, the consumption of water to keep them cool. And so to talk about this thing coming out of Clinton was 30 megawatts It's like, well, boy, something's really going on there. So I think the way you've laid it out in your e-news this afternoon about the tax credits and about the different things probably is the story behind here, just exactly where this is going to go.
Yeah, so just for the listeners, essentially Clinton nuclear plant was on life support. And in fact, it was one of the two Clinton plants that got bailed out in 2016 with the Future Energy Jobs Act. That was $2.4 billion going to, at that time, Exelon. Exelon sold their nuke plants to Constellation Energy. And now Constellation Energy has cut this deal, a 20-year deal with Meta. And it's a power purchase agreement without the details anybody knowing, only that Clinton says that they think they can eke out another 30 megawatts of power to help fuel this entire operation and give Meta the power that they need. But nobody is saying anything. Now it's going to cost, apparently Meta is going to put down upwards of maybe even $1 billion for power that will allow Clinton to stay operational, get them to, actually they're supposed to be done. It's a 40-year contract. So by 2027, they're supposed to be completely out of service because that's the length that the plant was supposed to be operational. Of course, everybody extends these, but this will allow them to extend them, do some upgrades, and then add 30 megawatts of power. But nobody is talking about exactly how this works. Are they getting a special price? Are they buying renewable energy credits? Are these federal energy credits? Are they state energy credits? Is there some sort of backdoor deal with DCEO for them to buy this power? Because a lot of this is going to fuel, some data centers. And I don't know, it might not be the data center that Meta uses. It might not be placed right in Illinois. Maybe it's one in another state, but they're just buying a power sort of credit system at a particular price. We don't know what this means. Nobody knows I don't think anybody knows what this means.
Right, exactly. And let's talk about the FEJA and the bailout of 2016. I mean, those were ratepayer subsidies that, ratepayers that consume electricity paid for that bailout to nuclear plants then. Of course, CEJA was more ratepayer subsidies, and that was to be what a part of the energy bill that was trying to come this spring that never materialized was more ratepayer subsidies for all the green new scam and the climate hysteria and fantasy. But, we saw what happened with Microsoft restarting 3 Mile Island. And Jeannie, has that been in mothballs for 30 or 40 years?
A long time. Yes.
So, I don't know if it's cheaper to bring one out of mothballs than it is to build a new one. I assume they can probably get it restarted quicker than build a new one. But the point of that is the demand these data centers are putting on the grid for their energy consumption. And so it's a little bit alarming. I think we all believe and know that Clinton was running at full peak. I don't know
when we walked in there, they said they can't push anything more out. Right. That's what they said.
Right. So are they, what is going on and what's this going to mean for consumers around this part of the state?
Well, look, I'm all for nuclear, and I know that you are too. We believe in it. It's great. But I found this one article which gave me more information than a press release did from Constellation Energy. It was from the National CIO Review called Powering the AI Boom, How Much Energy Does an Artificial Intelligence Really Use? And it said consumers could bear the cost. Many utility contracts with tech giants offer discounted rates for massive data center operations, shifting the financial burden onto ordinary customers. And that's what we don't know. That's what we don't know about this whole deal when they got to, we just bailed out Clinton, folks. And they probably got additional bailout under CEJA somehow, I imagine. And now they're going to give Meta a preferential pricing. We don't know. The problem is we don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, Brad, I want to thank you for being down there, fighting the fight, filing this lawsuit against the process. I think that there's a good chance that should go forward. And thanks a lot. Thanks for joining me on The Real Story. All right.
Keep up the great work. See ya.
That's Brad Halbrook, State Representative 107th. We'll be right back.